Contrary to what a lot of people tell you, there are certain changes and tweaks you can make to these canning recipes and still be safe. Like one of them is spices. You can change the spices around a lot. You don't have to stay exactly what they say. You can actually even change the amount a little bit. Don't want to overdo it with the spices, but and always use dried spices or herbs, not the fresh. But you use fresh, you're liable to be putting more liquid into the mixture, and that's not what you want. You know, yeah, a lot of recipes tell you can put a clove or garlic or a piece of onion or dried pepper in the bottom of the jar, and for most part, you're not changing much when you're doing a little bit on those. But so anyway, yeah, you can change the spices around and keep them dry. Uh, with liquids, with meat at least, you could use water, broth, the drippings from when you cook the meat, or tomato-based products like tomato juice or V8 or tomato juice. Uh, Tomato juice has got the thickest one, so you're safe with V8 and tomato. Yeah, and tomato juice. Did say tomato juice, did I not? Anyway, so yeah, you can switch them around, use them, and you're safe. Now with acids, apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, they're interchangeable as long as they're both 5% or higher. In fact, I had a tomato ketchup recipe that I had to use white vinegar instead of apple cider like they called for, because my apple cider vinegar is only 4.5%, and that's not safe. So anyway, and it turned out to be pretty good ketchup. Okay, I might put a link to it at the end of this. Uh, Now with salt's for flavor. You don't need it. Uh, you can add a little bit more, a little bit less. Uh, the only exception being, of course, if you're fermenting, like sauerkraut or crock pickles or whatever, then you have to use the salt. And you have to use the amount they tell you to use. But for the rest of the time, it's just for flavor. Sugar is pretty much the same. You don't have to use it in most cases. But fruit, you probably want to use some because they're going to be pretty bland with just plain water. And of course, with jams, you're going to have sugar. It's not going to turn into jam. But this is something you can do about sugar, though. You can replace half the sugar with honey. The only thing is, if you do that, you have to reduce the liquid in the recipe by the same amount of honey you use. So if you used a cup of honey, you'd have to reduce the liquid by 1 cup to keep the liquid volume the same. Uh, Now, in the case of you added pectin, for some reason, you can only replace 1 cup of sugar with 1 cup of honey for recipes that are 6 pints or under, and you can go to 2 cups of honey for sugar if they're over 6 pints. Uh, Again, you gotta reduce the amount of liquid by whatever you done. So anyway, the honey could be an interesting idea to use in all your recipes. Uh, Depends up to you, I guess. Peppers, yeah, you can make them pretty interesting too, because it doesn't matter what kind of pepper you use. You could use a bell pepper, you could use uh, banana pepper, you could use a ghost pepper, or jalapenos. They're all going to change your heat level and flavor a little bit, but it's okay. You can mix and match them all you want. Just the only thing you have to make sure you do is you keep the volume the same. Don't change the volume. Just you can mix the peppers around lots. If you don't even have to seed them, apparently. Uh, Man, that'd be really hot with ghost peppers, wouldn't it? Anyway, no, onions are the same idea. You red, yellow, white, it doesn't matter. You can change them around all you want. Just again, keep the volume the same. The volumes of these things are important because that changes how the density of your canned goods and how the heat's going to penetrate, how well it's going to penetrate, and so which also affects the processing time. So you got to keep that stuff in mind. But other than that, yeah, you can mix them around a lot. And a jar size is another thing. You can go to a smaller jar, canning jar, of course. But like I use a half pint jars instead of pints on a lot of stuff, like my canned turkey, for example, because that's how much I can eat in a meal or two or a lunch or two. But the only thing is, what you got to do then is, since there's no processing time for the half pints, and you got to process at the pint times. So And if there's no processing time for a quart or larger, you can't use the larger jars. You can only process up to what they tell you to do. Okay, but hey, now so you can take all these recipes and make them your own. Just be sure that you understand you can't change the acidity level, the density, the processing time, or the amount of ingredients. But you can change a lot of these ingredients around, and it's still safe. So have some fun with it, and I hope you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you again, or hope you can see me again. I won't be able to see you anyway. Have fun.